3, 2, it's live already. It's Simon Michael. It is the Friday. It's the Kent Beck Scrum. Updates. What happened today? Well, we just had the autograded beta sizer meeting, which was reasonably intense and productive. I guess I've just been moving, trying to move all the issues into our instructor community resources issues. So kind of getting that sorted out. I'm just playing around with the grader based on what's it called? Playing around with the grader based on some of the discussions that we had. Yeah, we also had the website 1 kickoff meeting. Got some sorting done. Managed to put a what's it called? A task in to update the users with some frequency. That's about. Yeah, I think that's about the size of it. Anything summary from your side, Michael?
No.
So that's a very quick stand-up. Yeah. Are you interested in what I'm doing here on the grader now?
I guess.
The thing I was just looking at, well, this is the issues for the instructor community resources.
How to avoid getting distracted by people paying from closed source coding.
Yeah, that's I was kind of the issue I meant to bring up in the I forgot what it's called now, the beta sources thing, but was overwhelmed by other stuff. But it's a concern. Well, we'll see. I don't know. The as my cash reserves run down, the attractiveness of the. I mean, I get like 3 or 4 emails a week from recruiters saying, "Oh, you should like come and do this job."
Right.
And as I run out of money, then gradually I'm kind of like, should I do that? Anyway, but what I was just doing here for the grader is I was just experimenting to see if I could, like, partly as a result of describing all of the different possibilities to Richard in the beta starters meeting, is I realized even though I couldn't immediately get the Cucumber specs or Cucumber things passing locally, I could just create.
None of these people know you from Agile Ventures, or
I think that they know me from my GitHub account.
right.
That's, my email address is public on GitHub. But yeah, what I just did here was I created I was like, oh well, let's just create a repo that's got the specs in and see if I can make that work. And so I've popped that in here. This happens to be in Richard's spot where
You're inundating me with emails.
They're not inundating you with emails.
Yeah, from my GitHub account.
No, is your email public on your GitHub account?
I think it is. Maybe. I think it is, but lately, yeah, it is now.
It is now, or well, yeah, I think it's Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it may be a reflection of which part of the world we're in. Like, I mean, it's also my, like I've got kind of like a high contribution level, but also, I mean, I get contacted by recruiters in London, so I mean, I'm not sure what the tech scene is like in the Philadelphia greater area. It might make a difference if you were in what's it called? Well, LA or New York or San Francisco. I think also maybe. Well, I mean, I say GitHub in an offhand sense. It may be my LinkedIn profile that people. But I don't know. That doesn't expose the email. Yeah, I don't know. I did. I mean, this latest guy who I mean, the particular thing that caught my attention was yesterday. Somebody sent me something about Ruby on Rails and machine learning opportunity, which is actually quite a good fit for me. And I asked him where he got my details from, and he said, "Oh, some previous people in his recruitment company had entered me into the system, so he doesn't know where they got my data from. So who knows?" But what am I? Brain. Can I come back over here? Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this is the old grader working and grading this one here, which is that's the more fun with strings. So I just ran this one, and I've got the grader, and it's failed on the grader, and I can see this is unknown like temp repo auto grader, and I think that's failed because I'm not sure, but I think it's kind of expecting the repo to have this spec folder actually called, can I rename it from here? Spec. I cannot. I think it expects this to be called autograder. And I think what it's trying to do is it's trying to copy the autograder files from here to put them in a place in a temp directory. So I'm just thinking if I change that to autograder, which I can't, okay, I can't do that from there. If I go to Window, Alt Ruby Calisthenics, and we move spec to autograder there, git status, git add, git commit minus am. This is try spec directory named autograder, and then git push origin master. I could just try this again. I have a feeling that it, well, we'll see. Let's go back to here. This is now called autograder. And if I go back to here, all right, so let's reset. Let's choose a file. So I've got the solutions there for that. And we'll check that, and we'll just see what happens on there. And yeah. So yeah, and so you would okay.
What is that?
That looks like it worked. I don't know which one I passed up, but yeah, there we go. And it's, yeah, okay. So, okay. Well, I guess I'll just edit these. This is like settings, new grader version, and old grader version. Okay. Well, that's very interesting for me, and you may not be so interested in it. I'm just gonna go here and see. Right. Note here. Have just tested, and seems like we can use the calisthenics with the new grader. Will just require setting up repository with sensible instructions, etc., etc. So I guess the implication there is that probably an app that could be done like with an hour's content work could be done with an hour or so's content work. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was kind of keen to just kind of get things sorted for that. I guess I will just before I forget to do it, let's get to automate it. Of send this out to the beta starters. But yeah, so I mean, I've got like a little bit of time left before I run out of Friday. Was there anything particularly on your mind that you wanted to look at?
Not really.
Google requires that I do this dance, so they do this dance, so they don't start recording. We're recording. Right. Go on.
Pairing robot, huh?
Pairing robot.
You have a pairing robot?
I started building a pairing robot.
As a toy?
Yes. I mean, it's not. It's like, it's so simple that it fits in a blog post in the first instance. But basically, I wrote. Where's it gone?
Did you check out that
Gone.
book that I talked about? I haven't looked at it much.
Which book was that?
Where is it at? I thought I put it in. See if I can. Oh, right here. The architecture of open source or something. Let me.
That sounds familiar.
You can read it on the internet.
Okay.
Free.
I did not
It's like
read that yet.
the 500 lines or less is kind of interesting premise. It was I think it was covered in one of the Ruby Rogue podcasts is where I heard it, like the author or the editor, like the guy who was on a podcast.
Yeah.
Explaining the rationale for it.
Okay. I'm a bit confused. This is this then it's saying 500 lines or less. This link here is the introduction to that book, and then the book consists of a series of these chapters.
Like that's each chapter.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. No, I heard right. So they basically got people to write like code. Yeah.
What they did was they had them do like an interesting problem.
Right.
Like a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they put a restriction on it that it would just be 500 lines or less.
Yes.
So it's like the bare minimum.
Yes.
The minimum viable product for whatever. They go through their reasoning of why, like they present parts of the code. And have a link where you could see like the repo or whatever.
Right.
And they present their reasoning why they structured it that way.
Yes, I listened to the podcast for that about. It was with the author of the editor of the book. I listened to that about 2 weeks ago. Yes, he sounded like a really interesting guy.
So there's the book that you can.
Right. Did you? And you say you didn't start reading it yet?
No, but I linked it in Tech Talk a couple of days.
Yeah. Right. I think I saw that go by, but I hadn't looked at it yet. But thank you for drawing it to my attention again.
Good. You can read it in HTML, and if you want it in PDF, it's like $10 or something.
Right. Cool beans. Cool. That's cool. This is the. Oh, I lost it now.
Apparently, of the $9.99 that you pay, $1.10 of it will go to Amnesty International.
Cool.
Just kind of interesting, I guess.
So this is my pairing robot.
Yes. And what's the point of this?
The point of this is The point of this is to try and provide like the experience of doing very, very simple ping pong pairing when you haven't got a partner, or you're very shy and don't want to talk to other human beings. So the idea is that you could, in principle, you could write the first part of the test here, and then the pairing robot would be able to fill in the code that makes the test pass and then add a new test. So the pairing robot needs to be able to decipher the error message, work out the code that would make it pass, and then move on in, say, a sequence of input outputs to provide the next spec.
So there's several things there. Like so you're just relying on the error messages generated by the spec?
In the first instance. Like this, go on.
You could use Ripper
to take the code apart.
To analyze the syntax, and
right.
If you programmed in like some knowledge of RSpec, and then second,
yeah.
But I think the larger problem is, how does it know what to write? Like, how does it know to write like a meaningful test case? Like, how does the robot know what doubles means?
Because the robot in the first instance only operates based on input-output statements. So it can't conceptually know, at least in my first envisioning of it, what doubling means. But the specification of the problem is a series of like input-output pairs. So if the human implements one of them in terms of a test, then the ability to write the next test in this very, very simple instance is purely it's like a template, and then you fit the input output into it.
Right, but how does it, like, it's just assuming that there's like a ratio, that it's not, for instance, squaring it.
Well, I
could write it square, right?
Go on.
I could, like, the spec could say it squares a number, right?
Yeah.
X squared 2 to equal 4.
Right.
And would it then just write expect square 3 to equal 6, or would it be smart enough to say expect square 3 to equal 9?
I would say that the spec would have to specify all of the things, although you could basically give the like in terms of the defining.
So does pair B is the machine, right?
For example, yeah.
And it knows enough to write a failing spec?
Yeah, which is here. Like it would. I mean, I haven't made this bit work yet. Like all I've done so far. In fact, all I've done so far, like this here is like a description of like the kind of high level what it should be able to do. Like here, if pair B could do all of the things, if the robot could do actually either pair A or pair B, then that would be a step I think would be interesting. What I've got it to do so far is it can take an error and it can analyze the error, and it can basically create a method that will remove no method error by just creating a method with that name, and then it can evaluate an argument error and place an appropriate number of arguments. So there would then be a step beyond that where once it had got past these errors, it would have a failing RSpec thing saying expected to get 4 and got 0, let's say. And then there would be a extension to like, okay, allow it to modify the method to work in that case. And then given that it has a passing test, it would need to generate a new test case, which I had been imagining would be done simply by relying upon kind of like the instructional designer who's creating this, sort of task, to specify a series of input-output pairs. But I realized actually what it could do is, you could just specify a series of inputs, and you could actually specify, like the ideal solution, which the robot would know, and it could use that ideal solution, to generate an arbitrary number of outputs so that it could carry on with the test cases, and it could have like a basic thing that if the human didn't get to a, like a suitable generic solution within 5 steps, that it would actually offer the generic solution itself, since it would know what it should be.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm sort of imagining like a little Code Wars style thing where you can, you can solve a problem, but you can do it in a ping pong pairing style because you've got, even if you're by yourself, because you've got a little robot that will, take those red, green, possible, and not red.
So at the end of the day, they would be curated exercises.
Yeah. I think clearly
it wouldn't just be like me sitting down with my robot and being like, let's do something.
No, not in the first instance, at least. I mean, I think that's like a really tough, open-ended problem, and I think a way of sidling up on it would be to do it for these relatively small things. I think an interesting angle on it for learning would be that when the robot like analyzes an error and then writes some code, that it would actually verbalize. I mean, it would like, rather than just doing it and leaving the human to sort of work it out, it would actually sort of say, oh yeah, I see this error message, look, there's no method, I'm gonna add that method. But yeah, so the idea is to get people used to the concept of ping pong pairing in like a sort of a simple game like way, so that they can practice that without having to get over the logistical issue of setting up with another person who's going to show them what to do.
Okay, so it's a pedagogical tool.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be super cool to keep on adding to it until the range of systems that it could then, the range of problems that it could be working on would get bigger and bigger and bigger. But as I say, that's sort of a big open-ended problem. But it would be interesting to see how far you could take it. Yeah, I don't see it in the first. I think it would be very hard in the first instance to write something that would, make your that it would be any kind of replacement for a human. Although I think it's an interesting thing, though, that kind of with test-driven development, effectively, you're specifying the behavior with the tests. So, even another kind of pairing system would basically, from analyzing your tests, create all of the necessary code to make them work. I mean, to the extent that you're properly cornering the behavior of the system with your tests, then why do you have to do the legwork of actually implementing them, right? Mm-hmm. Like if your tests are sufficiently there, anyway, I'll stop talking. Yes. Hey, Pretty. How are you doing? You are muted at this time.
Hello.
Hey, Pretty. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Cool beans.
There's a lot of, I think there's some echo, I guess. Is it from my side? I'm not sure. Okay, it's better.
Maybe it's not particularly. There was sort of a hum.
All right.
But that we didn't have before you joined. But it's not. Yeah, we can hear you fine. There's not actually a. When there's a real echo, it's very difficult to get anything done. Michael and I were just sort of hanging out and chatting about this very, very putative pairing robot that I created. That's not even really a robot yet, but.
Yeah, I'll have a look at what it is.
Mm-hmm. Right. How are things going with you?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to get into Agile Ventures back again from today, so I guess I'll take up some stories and stuff again.
Oh, cool.
Maybe website one again.
Sure.
I'll see.
Oh, that's great.
I'll spend tonight just going through the code base and looking at what changes have been done over the past few months, and yeah, so that's what I'll plan on doing today.
Oh. That's loud. Wonderful. Yeah, we just had a website one. We had a bit of a break while I was away in Japan. We just did a website one kickoff meeting and kind of cleared up the board a little bit. Yes. Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, I had this idea. You remember how you were talking about making an app with Thomas before relating
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
you know,
The
voting on
voting.
stories? Yeah, which, I think for the synchronous case, I was like not quite set up because like, we were just doing voting. It always seems to work reasonably well for us. Local support recently, we've got quite a lot of people, but it's not such an active project. I mean, sorry, it's quite active, but we don't have so many kind of like synchronous meetings. And I was just thinking that if we had some sort of system that allowed us to vote on stories, but basically would keep the voting secret until it reached like a threshold, like if 3 people have voted, then it would actually be kind of useful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like I guess then okay, so after it reaches a threshold, then we can have a discussion on it. Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Right,
looks
right.
good.
And the interesting thing is, you could, if you had the right API things, like if you basically said, like like you could do, I don't know, I'm not, I'm mentioning this only because
Yeah, yeah.
it's the kind of thing that you'd been talking about before. But I was imagining that you could do something in here, like I might say /vote here, and then I would take where's it gone? Where's it gone? Mouse cursor. I would take something like well, it should be local support rather than website one. But if I take like a local support, well, we have the issues. It would be from what's it called, Pivotal Track or whatever. But hypothetically, so you could have like this, and you would say vote on this thing, and then it would basically, ping the people on the channel. Maybe it would message them individually and say, hey, yeah, I guess that would make sense. The bot would then, I mean, one configure it so maybe it doesn't do well, you could do it everybody on the channel and individually say, hey, we're having a vote on this thing. Do you and give them some little instructions, like in the individual Slack bot thing, and it would say like, hey, we're voting on this. Do you think it's 1, 2, or 3? And it could even, say, discuss in local support if you need more information about it, or what have you. And then, yeah, like so, I think what I was suddenly getting excited about is that if it then gets up, let's say you set your threshold at 3 people, and when 3 people vote for it, if the 3 people all voted the same, then it could just go directly to that, using the GitHub API, and it could set the estimate
So
directly.
we aren't using Pivotal Tracker anymore.
Ah,
Oh,
and in fact, on
it's,
local support we are. On website one, we've stopped using Pivotal Tracker.
yeah. I thought we did it on like web local support. We use Pivotal Tracker. All right, yeah, all right.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to maybe do that. I don't know. I mean, but equivalently, it could be a Pivotal Tracker story, and you would
Yeah,
use
yeah, yeah.
Pivotal Tracker, blah, blah, blah. And then, but of course, if they didn't vote the same, what it could also do, it could encapsulate the logic, and it could say, oh, Michael voted 2, and Sam and Sampriti both voted 3, and then it could say in the channel, report the results and say, hey, at MTC 2013. Do you want to explain why you think that it's more of a 2 than a 3? And that would be, yeah, I don't know. Suddenly I was like, oh, like all the things that we actually do synchronously could be quite easily automated to make it work asynchronously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry,
It looks good, and yeah, it's a good idea. I guess we'll think about it.
cool. Anyway, yes, sorry, I mean, I can't stop talking sometimes. It's terrible. Yeah, so Sampriti, anything that we can help you with at all? You're looking through stuff. I guess you're not blocked on anything.
Oh no, I'll let you guys know in the chat if I have any issues.
Sure, cool. Oh, well, great to hear. How did your math test go the other day?
Oh, that I guess yeah, it went fine.
Oh,
It
good stuff.
wasn't like too serious. It's like
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Michael was talking about a very interesting book earlier, which is this 500 lines or less kind of concept. This is people solving various problems in 500 lines or less and talking about their approach to doing so, which looks kind of cool. I wonder if that I shall make that Ned Batchelder. He's an edX guy, actually, I think. Yeah, there you go. Thought I recognised the name.
A CI system in less than 500 lines looks interesting. The second.
Interesting stuff. I might make this my lunchtime reading going forward. I kind of a toss up between that and rewatching all of the part 2 videos to make sure that they work properly. Cool. All right. Well, I think it's coming to the end of my day. I don't know. It must be quite late where you are, Semperty.
Yeah, it's 9:45.
Oh, okay. Oh, not so crazily late. I guess actually I'm going to shut down for the day. But if you guys wanted to pair and hang out, do be my guest.
All right. Yeah. I guess I don't want to pair today. I don't feel like it. So yeah, I'll shut down too, I guess.
No worries. Yeah, and you want to kind of get back up to speed with the things, so that's fine. But yeah. Michael, have a great weekend, and I guess I'll see you on Monday. You around on Monday? Yep. All right. Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Great to see you again, Semperty. Michael, thanks for joining me for the journey today. And yeah, have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye for now.